What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. Beautiful, delicious, glazed, smoky, tender, amazing braised beef short rib burn ends. That's right, folks, we're taking some beef ribs, throwing them on the old pit, getting them nice and smoky, and then braising them down in some red wine and beef stock and other aromatics until nice and tender and super luxurious, and plating that on top of some lovely polenta. Coming up! This is some meat. Ooh, pat them dry. And what I've got here is some boneless beef ribs. These are beef chuck ribs, I believe. They are USDA choice, but quite well marbled, I must say. Nice and thick, looking very good. Picked these up at Costco and should work out perfectly for what we're doing today. And that's because today we're making a barbecue version of some braised beef short ribs, or beef chuck ribs in this case. And typically when you see braised short ribs, you're gonna be using the English cut of beef ribs, which is a chunk like that big that is bone in. And those work great. I've done that many times. I've done a few videos on those here on the channel. But today I wanted to approach this dish a little bit more like burn ends, meaning we're gonna cube these up, throw them on the pit, get some smoke and some bark on there, and then throw them in a braise with some red wine and some beef stock and other aromatics until they are nice and tender and nice and flavorful. And it's kind of like a more elevated version of beef burn ends. You know, something you wouldn't mind serving on Valentine's Day. What are you doing? She's just gonna wait here for the official taste test all day. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and cube these up into some little bite-sized pieces. I'm thinking little 1 by 1 inch cubes ought to work out well. These are gonna shrink up quite a bit, so I'm gonna make them a little bit bigger than I think. But something like that is really what I'm after. Beautiful marbling on that. Beautiful. This is going to make quite a bit of some beef short ribs, but they should vac seal freeze and reheat really well, so not mad about it. But now we're going to go ahead and get these all seasoned up. And if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, whenever I'm throwing beef on a smoker, almost every time I'm reaching for some Chuds BBQ SPG, just salt, pepper, garlic. You can pick this up on our website or make your own. The recipe's right on the back of the bottle, or ratios rather. And we're going to go ahead and get a nice dusting all over these little beef rib pieces. Flip them over and do the bottoms as well. And then we'll go ahead and kind of toss these around, pick up anything left on the board to make sure we don't forget any of the sides, because that would be a rookie move. And just like that, those are looking pretty much perfect to me. So let's go ahead and fire up the pit. One of these days I'm gonna braise a snake inside my boot. And on the pit we go. Got the old offset smoker here fired up with some post oak wood in true Central Texas barbecue style. And on we go with all of our little beef chunks. Gonna be rocking this cook probably around 250, 275 for a good few hours. Really just trying to make sure that rub tacks on, build a little bit of bark, and of course get some lovely smoky flavor. And begin the cooking process so these don't take 8 hours to braise. But again, all the tenderizing is really going to happen in the braise. So really we're just trying to get some good color and some good smoke flavor on these. So not too picky of a cook. So we'll check back in on these in probably 3 hours or so. This video is brought to you by Helix Sleep. Helix Sleep makes premium quality mattresses and bedding customized to fit your needs, conveniently shipped right to your door. But if you're not in the market for a new mattress right now, Helix has the perfect solution with their range of mattress toppers. They're super comfy and a great way to extend the life of your current mattress, make it more comfortable, or improve the bed in your guest room for when you have people over. And how it works is you go to Helix's website and you take the sleep quiz, where you enter your basic information like height, weight, and sleeping preferences, and you will be matched with the perfect mattress for you. I took the quiz like 4 years ago with Brooke, and we were matched with the Helix Sleep Dusk Luxe mattress, and I gotta tell you, it is the best bed I've ever had. I miss it when I'm not home. I've had it for years and it's still just as comfortable as day one, and I've never slept better in my entire life. And there's a reason why I keep partnering with Helix. You know, I genuinely love their mattresses. We've got 2 here at the house and a few down at the Chud shop as well, and everyone that sleeps on them absolutely loves them because they're just so dang comfy. But other than comfort, probably my favorite thing about Helix is how convenient it is to get a big mattress shipped right to your house. Not only is shipping free in the US, but it comes in a very reasonably sized box. So getting a king-size mattress into your house or up a flight of stairs has never been easier. Simply break the vac seal and watch it come back to life, and you've got a fantastic new bed as conveniently as possible. And with the new year upon us, it is the perfect time to upgrade your sleep space, and Helix offers a 120-night sleep trial to make sure you absolutely love the mattress. And each mattress comes with a lifetime warranty. Highly recommend it, folks. So if you're in the market to get the best new mattress of your life, click my link in the description box of this video, or head to helixsleep.com/chudsbbq to take advantage of their President's Day sale where you can save 27% off site-wide. Again, link down below, or head to helixsleep.com/chudsbbq to get 27% off everything and take advantage of their President's Day sale. Thank you, Helix. And while that meat smokes away, let's go ahead and get our braising liquid made up. Starting by going into a pot with a squeeze of some oil, followed by 1 diced yellow onion, and give that a quick little stir with a terrifying spoon my mother got me for Christmas, followed by our celery and our carrots. And we'll go in with a big fat pinch of salt at this point as well, and get that cooking down. And after cooking down for about 10-15 minutes or so, those onions are starting to look nice and translucent, taking on some color, and everything is softened up a little bit. So I'm gonna create a little space right in the middle, and go in with a big squeeze of some tomato paste, probably 2-3 tablespoons. And get that stirred in to take the raw edge off of it. Let that cook down a little bit. I'm also gonna go in with our garlic at this stage and cook these down for maybe a minute or two until everything is nice and fragrant, but nothing is burning to the bottom too badly. And once that is smelling absolutely incredible and we've got a nice fond built up on the bottom, we're gonna go in with some red wine, 2 to 3 cups. Deglaze the bottom of that pot and let this reduce down by a lot. And after about 15-20 minutes of reducing down, this is reduced by like 60 to 80%. All that wine flavor is nicely concentrated and we've cooked off all the booze. I made sure to keep stirring it to make sure nothing burned on the bottom, but now we can go in with some homemade smoky gelatinous beef stock. Oops. Get that stirred in. I'm gonna do my best to clean the sides of the pot here and bring that up to a simmer. And once up to a simmer, we can go in with a few more things, including a few sprigs of thyme, a couple of bay leaves, and a couple shots of some Worcestershire sauce, because I forgot to add it earlier. Oops. And I very well may need to add some more stock once the beef goes in, but we will cross that bridge till we get there. Checking back in on this beef, it's been about 3 hours smoking along and they are looking absolutely beautiful. Nice and barky, nice and dark, and exactly what we're going for. Loving how these look. They're about 175, 180 internal, so still pretty tough, but they've got the color and the smoke we need. So now we can pull these off and put them into the braise. Ow. Boop. Looking like burn ends already. Can't even see it in my glove. And it does look like 1 quart of beef stock is enough to get these all completely submerged without having too much in there. So now we're gonna let this slow cook away for the next few hours. And how you do this is completely up to you. You could put a lid on top and put it on a low burner and let it simmer for 2-3 hours until everything is nice and tender, which is a great option, although you do have to worry about things burning to the bottom because the heat source is coming straight up. Or you could take this whole pot and throw it into an oven at like 300 degrees, 275, and do it that way for a completely hands-off version. That's probably what I'm gonna do just because it's pretty windy out here and low propane flames tend to blow out. So into the oven this goes, probably at 300 degrees. I'm gonna check it periodically until everything is nice and tender. And because these pieces of meat are already up to like 180 internal, hopefully it doesn't take too long. But I'm gonna leave this lid slightly cracked for ventilation so we get a little bit of evaporation. But really, I'm just gonna check it until it's tender. So I'll see you probably in a couple hours. And after about 3 hours of braising down, our meat is feeling nice and tender and smelling absolutely incredible. I did throw a cup of water in there a little while ago because it was starting to reduce down quite a bit, but everything is looking really tasty. And I actually did do this on a burner the entire time. I was gonna throw it in the oven because I didn't want the wind to blow out the flame out here, but then I remembered that I have an oven inside that has a range on top, so I just put it on a tiny burner in the back, and I stirred it every half hour or so to make sure nothing was burning on the bottom, and everything seems to have gone according to plan. But about 45 minutes ago, I killed the heat and I just let everything cool down in the pot, because whenever you're braising meat like this, if you pull it out, that meat's probably 210 degrees internal, and it will immediately start steaming, and that's just all the moisture from the meat going right out into the air. Instead of staying in your meat, you'll end up with some pretty dry pot roast flavored, weird textured beef. So by letting everything cool down in the liquid, it should have retained more moisture and more flavor, but now everything's reading right around 150 degrees, so I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling these chunks out as delicately as I can, because they are in fact quite tender, but looking magnificent. Love the color on those. I'm gonna try to be gentle so I don't squish all of these. And do be careful when you're stirring these up, because I definitely shredded a couple of these chunks, but I think it'll work out just fine. Ooh. Oh, nice and tender. And with all the meat removed, I'm going to strain the rest of the liquid through this little mesh strainer here into another pot. Ooh, such a deep color. And now I'm going to take all this braising liquid and reduce it down and essentially make a demi-glace, because we got the red wine reduction, the tomato paste, and the fortified beef stock from all the veg and all the smoked meat in there. And it should thicken up and make for a fantastic glaze. And when I was straining all the liquid, most of the veg pretty much disintegrated into the stock, but the carrots did survive, so I set those aside in case you want to add those to our final dish. And as for the rest of the veg, I'll probably throw it in with the rest of the shredded beef that didn't survive the braise in cube form, which should make for a great little pot roast or chopped beef sandwich or something. So I'm going to reduce this down at least by half until it starts to thicken up. And while that sauce reduces down, let's go ahead and knock out a quick polenta. Starting, going into a pot with 4 cups of water, milk, or stock. I'm going with some turducken stock. Bet you don't have that in your freezer. And we're going to bring that up to a rapid boil. And once up to a boil, in we go with our polenta. And polenta is essentially cornmeal, but I highly recommend getting one. Oh, I shouldn't have done that all at once. Probably should have done that a little more gradually. Hopefully we don't get lumps. But what I was saying is I highly recommend getting one that says polenta right on the box, because if you use regular cornmeal, it's likely going to have a lot of really fine particles and a lot of floury bits in there, which could clump up and get a little gummy on you. But now I'm going to stir this for the next 5-10 minutes or so, let all those granules hydrate and plump up and cook through, and it should start thickening up pretty quick. It smells like turducken in a good way. Definitely starting to get nice and thick. And after a few minutes of whisking and everything's looking nice and thick, give that a quick little taste to make sure that everything is cooked through and nothing's too grainy. Yep, that's good. Nice and plump. So now I'm going to go in with some butter, and probably an aggressive amount of butter, let's be honest here. This needs a lot of help in the fat department. Going to make it nice and rich and nice and creamy and velvety. And once that butter is incorporated and nicely melted in we go with a bunch of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. And get that mixed in as well. And once that's all mixed in, give it a quick little taste. Mine definitely still needs a big fat pinch of salt. And dial this into the creaminess, cheesiness, and saltiness of your liking. And our beautiful polenta is done. Meanwhile, back over here, our sauce has reduced down and thickened up quite a bit, looking and smelling absolutely beautiful. Just look how thick that is. Ooh. And now's a good time to give it a quick little taste. Oh my God, that's so flavorful, so beefy. I'm gonna give it just a wee little pinch of salt. And it is incredibly rich, so to add some acidity, I'm gonna go into some sherry vinegar, just a little drizzle. You could also go into some balsamic. That would be really nice. Give that a little mix, taste and adjust. And then I think it's time to plate. Starting with a lovely bed of our cheesy, creamy, buttery polenta. Keep wanting to call it grits. Pretty close. Then we're gonna grab one of our lovely short rib burn ends here and dip it right into this sauce. Let it hang out in there for a minute or so to glaze up and make sure it's warmed through. I did have these in the food warmer, so they're already like 140 internal, but this will just give them a little extra heat right before plating up. And once nice and saucy and nice and steamy, right on top we go. Oh, look at the shine on that. Oops, it's so impossibly dark. Little pyramid, why not? And one little guy on top. Beautiful. And then for a little garnish, we'll go down with some freshly chopped up parsley for a nice little pop of color. And there it is, folks, some braised beef short rib burn ends. Looking pretty good, smelling pretty great, looking nice and glazy and nice and beefy, and yeah, I'm ready to dive on in. Pretty happy that they held their shape. Well, most of them did anyway, but let's see if they're tender. Ooh, oh yeah, look at that. Looks like barbecue, got the smoke ring and everything. Good Lord. So beefy, so tender. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be a lot more intense with that sauce on top, but it really is just a perfect little bite. Unbelievably tender. And it does still taste like barbecue, which is awesome. But you're getting all the complexity from the red wine and all the veg in there. That is just incredible. It's interesting. Usually I'm not a let's put a bunch of rich sauce on top of barbecue kind of guy. I think like most people, but this is just working. That little bit of vinegar at the end really helped out. Definitely achieves the goal of elevated barbecue, right? Because you get the same experience of eating a nice, tender, smoky little bite of beef, but it's just, ooh, got so much more going on. Rich, velvety, a little bit sticky. That is fantastic. And the best part is all that sauce goes right onto the polenta. Oh, that is fantastic. It's got a similar texture and eating experience like a mashed potato or something like that, especially with the gravy on top, but it's got that nice corn flavor. This is a winning plate, folks. Cut that meat with a fork for the ultimate bite. Worth it. Worth the spoon throw. This is fantastic. It really just is the perfect marriage of a braised beef short rib and barbecue. Works really well. Who'd have thunk? It's at this point in the video where you're literally just watching me eat dinner. I don't need to talk about it much more. I'm just hungry. You know, it never ceases to amaze me how much better food is when you use a more interesting method of cooking than a frying pan. You know, like the chili verde tacos from a couple weeks back, or a traditional braised short rib. In both of those dishes, traditionally you just take the meat, brown it in the pan, and then braise it down from there. But by throwing it on the smoker, or the grill, you get that extra depth of flavor, you get that bark, you get that smoke ring. Can't go wrong. But before I go ahead and eat an alarming amount of this off camera, I think it's time for the official taste test. Alright y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic smoked braised beef short rib burn ends. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, it really just ticks all the boxes. It's beefy, it's tender, it's smoky, it's incredibly flavorful, and it's pretty easy to do, you know, a couple hours on the pit, couple hours in a pot, and it's unlike any other burn end I've made on the channel, and it doesn't look half bad plated up either. Definitely a technique I'll be keeping around, and it makes me wonder, what should I braise next? You know, some red wine braised beef cheeks? Maybe a whole rack of dino ribs? The possibilities are are endless. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Team Chud members. Thank you for supporting this channel and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!